All right, this is the 2023 General Maths Head Start session. What is the purpose of today's lesson? I'm going to introduce myself. Number 2, I'm going to introduce the subject of General Maths and how I teach. Number 3, we're going to do a basic skills test. And number 4, I'm going to teach a lesson on buying and selling shares and linear equations. So this will be a repeat for the people who have done General Maths. And I'm not going to apologize for that because you can get a quick test and a quick assignment out of the way right at the start of next year. Okay, so it's going to be a drag that you've done shares since last year, but I'd rather that you have a good start to the year. Okay, and then linear equations. So I'm introducing myself. My name is Mr. Twazon and Mr. T. If saying my last name is too hard for you, Mr. T, I'm not going to respond to sir this year. I don't call you child. My email is sly.twazon793@schools.sa.edu.au. Why did that drop out? That's going to be on the YouTube video, isn't it? Not sure why that dropped out, but that's fine. I won't edit that out. I like to have little mistakes in there. What am I into? I like sneakers and cars. Heat check. This is the Jordan 1 biohacks. At APHS, if you are not already aware, you're expected to consistently check and read your emails every day. We're not allowed to use social media, so your main form of communication is via that and in class. Is that clear? Is that reasonable? Also, you're expected to check and read your DayMap lesson notes every day. DayMap's our online classroom system. It allows us to communicate to our classes as a whole. It's where you'll see what we are doing and what needs to be done. It's also where you submit your work. And I promise you, I do not use OneNote. Is that shape? I don't know if that's shape. Maybe not. All right, 2, introduce the subject and style of teaching. General Maths is your middle level of maths. You need to take a step up from year 11 General Maths, or you will be mid, like the kids say these days, or you will fail. If you didn't want to take a step up, if you wanted it to just feel like this year, you should be doing Essential, okay? Just being brutally honest about it. There are 5 topics. Investing in the share market, you have 1 test and 1 DI. Can someone tell me what DI stands for?
Directed investigation.
Directed investigation. So the tests all through the year are worth 8%, and the DIs are worth 15%. Okay? So the topic that you've just done, if you did General Maths, is already giving you 15 plus 8, 23% of your grade at the start. Okay? The second topic, modeling with linear relationships. This is what people find mostly the hardest because it's the closest thing to algebra or methods maths that we do. Okay? But then these 3 in red, financial models, that's with your TVM solver and your calculator. Your calculator takes care of this. Statistical models, your calculator takes care of this. Discrete models, 1 test, that's something that's kind of weird. I can go through that, what that topic is about later because you've never done anything like it, except for if you did General Maths last year where you did, this year, where you did the little networks, the little spider webs. That's a little bit of that and a little bit of something else. That test, you get no notes or no calculator. Everyone freaks out about it, but after you've done every single year, everyone's like, I actually didn't need the notes or the calculator, okay? These are in red. Why? Because the exam at the end of the year only covers the last 3 topics. So as soon as we've done the first test and the first DI, you can forget about shares completely. Yeah? After we've done the test on linear relationships, you can forget about that completely. Because you need your mind or your brain space to cover these 3 because that's what you're examined on. So 8%, 15%, another 8%, 8%. So the tests are worth 40% of your grade. They're worth a little more than the DIs. 2 DIs are 15, that's worth 30%. So everything that I mark you on is worth 70% of your grade, leaving how much for the exam? 30% of your grade is your exam, okay? You'll have time during this Head Start session right at the end to ask me to show you what these topics are about. If you're worried about the discrete models test, I can show you about it, but I won't teach a lesson on it. All right, that's more about me. There's 2 kinds of students in this school. People who have been taught by me, which is most of this class. People who have not. There's like 4 of you. You people who have not been taught by me are going to get a reality check right now. A typical lesson in one of my classes has a pretty consistent format. I don't change very much. Why? Because if you have a teacher that's reliable and consistent, what are you probably going to be?
Reliable and consistent.
Yeah, that's how that freaking works, right? So, Can someone describe to me what I generally start off with?
Introducing the topic.
Yep. Introduce what we are doing. Do I also provide you notes that I've written myself, which tend to be useful later? That's kind of what that's about. With notes that I have written. The only time I'm not going to write that notes live is when I'm away, and that's reasonable, okay? What do we do after that, between when I've given you the notes and explained, and between that and when you start practicing, yes?
Go through examples.
Yes, we do examples. Go through a worked example. And then what do you do pretty much for the majority of the lesson? Yes?
Do the work.
Yeah, do the questions.
Do the work. So the problem that you got, the problem that we have is that because you're young people, you say you do the work. You need to see it as something different. You need to see it as practice. Is anyone good at something outside of school? Yeah? Sport?
Yeah.
How do you get good at that?
Hours of practice.
Maths is the same, okay? That's why I'm good at it, okay? That's why I'm good at rowing. That's how I lost like freaking 45 kilos. I just rowed for 2 hours a day, okay? So it's not about, oh, I can do this straight away. If you can do it without practice and get a good grade, I will bow down to you. Only a few people have proven that. Your relative, okay? Some people have proven that, but that's out of the ordinary. Most people need to practice to be good at something. I think that's fair. Now, this is also part of the reality check for you 4 people that haven't been in my classes. All my math subjects follow a timeline, which I sent you in an email, and your parents will receive at the start of next year. It'll also be attached to DayMap. This is where we aim to be each week. We aim to be here each week. So what does a timeline look like? Looks like that. This is what you were sent. So in the first week, I'll go through. We'll try to get through 3 exercises. Notice that there's little button links. These link to a video that I've produced already of a lesson. What's the point of that? Well, my timelines have link buttons on them that link to lesson videos I've made. If you're away for a particular lesson or need a second go at understanding, watch the damn video. This means you have no excuse to be behind if you're away. I can't do anything if you're away or sick. Actually, I did. It's there. So you catch it up yourself. Trains don't come to pick you back up if you're late. Okay? Your lessons will always have a lesson note stating the day and date of the lesson, what was done that lesson, what homework is that lesson. That tells you where we actually get up to each day. If you think that I'm just saying that and don't do it, you're wrong. This was the 9th of August this year, 12 General Maths, which is what you'll be doing. Every lesson will have this. Does this lesson note make it clear what day it was? Does it make it clear what subject we're talking about? Does it make it clear what I taught today? Three separate ideas that make sense to be together. Does it make clear what practice I expect you to be up to the end of? Usually most lessons is only one thing. And then does it make it clear what homework you need to do? Okay? I don't like to set homework. I don't set homework for the sake of it. The only homework you should have is the assignments. Your homework is stuff that's not finished in class. Is that fair? Okay? If you're slow in class, then do it later. You and your parents will be emailed a homework reminder every Saturday morning. This year it was around 7, but I aim for 8:30 a.m. every morning. This will tell you where you need to get up to before we start next week. So, these mechanisms, those 4 things that I do, ensure that you have no excuse to not know what we are doing. Your parents have no excuse to not know what we're doing. And you will look bad if you claim to not know what you should be doing. I think that's a fair... I don't think you can argue against that. Okay? I should be a lawyer. My classroom rules. I don't have many classroom rules. Number 1, don't talk while I'm teaching like you're doing now. I only teach for the first 10 to 15 minutes of any lesson. You can hold it. No one needs to know what you had for breakfast, what you did on the weekend. You can tell them when you're practicing, okay? No one is here to listen to you teach them maths that you don't know. I know it. Number 2, don't negatively impact others. If you're going to be mid or below, don't bring everyone else down with you. And you guys know, you guys that have been with me, you guys know what I will do if someone else is bringing people down to their level. Are we clear on that? It'll be a nice roast. It'll be like a rotisserie chicken. Okay? Number 3, submit this is the biggest one. This is the biggest one for you people that have never had me before. You submit by my deadlines. Assignments of mine are always due when? On a Friday of the week. Midnight. On Friday of the week they are due. This will be on the task itself and you will get email reminders. I'm not weak on this. Please ask your classmates that have had me previously, what happens if you miss a deadline with no medical certificate or a legitimate reason? What happens? Not fail. You get a 0. That's worse than fail. Because a fail is like a D. Okay? What if it doesn't exist by the time I require it? What is it? It's 0. It's nothing. Okay? I mark your work very quickly. I spend a specific weekend. Before I go, is that a true statement? When do you get your tests back?
Half an hour after.
Half an hour on the day, most of the time. If I'm in the toilet, maybe you won't get it on the day, but I want to know what grade you got. Okay? I mark your work quickly, and if it's an assignment, I spend a specific weekend during my personal time. I'm not going to waste my personal time on a different weekend to mark your late work because you didn't use your time effectively. Take the L. You are not paying me overtime. So, this is an example. This is what I did for the statistics DI. One of our students here was the first. She ended up on the Friday, but the Saturday after, when did I start marking and providing feedback? What time? 8:30 a.m. When did I finish on that day? 7:51. Why? Because everyone gets feedback to tell you exactly what you need to do to make it good. If you follow that feedback, what grade do you think you're going to get? Yes. The only time people will not get an A is if they don't bother to do this or if they don't have time to apply that feedback. Do you think I'm going to feel bad for you if you don't hand this up? Do you think I'm going to feel bad for you if I spent like over 12 hours marking work and you wanted a freebie? No, I'm not going to. Okay? Try me next year. It won't be pretty for you, okay? Hopefully you understand what I'm about from this. I'm about accountability. If you and your parents are going to hold me accountable to teach you properly and mark your work quickly and accurately, then I'm going to hold you accountable right back to get things to me on time. I'm strict on deadlines because, and this is the reason why, and when I look at this list, most of you are going to be fine. Most of you are going to be in this position. I'm strict on deadlines because it's not fair on you people that hand up on time if other people in the class have weeks extra to do their work. Because could you have gotten a slightly better mark if you had those same weeks extra? That's not going to happen here. And it's going to be on record. It's going to be freaking YouTube. Okay? Are we clear about that? So, basic skills test. Get your device out, get a calculator out, please, and something to write with.